I guess I can start a bit of Babel, right? Since I haven't done it at all, I kind of want to. And oh, I guess the news girl is free now. Yeah, sure. I think I have like maybe 1 more hour in me. Yeah, sure. Let's spend an hour on the event. A boy cries in his dreams. To weather the blizzard, a girl wraps him within her cloak and wipes his tears away. Freezing, gusting, the air screams on. Softly, the Cyclops tells of an epic tale, far, far away. Through the snowstorm's seams her voice comes. The myriad souls' calls become harmonious with it. The boy's whimpers, the drums of their beat. Whimpers? Yeah, whimpers. This dream is bitter cold. Within, the girl seizes a faint breath. She covers the boy's eyes and closes her own. Even now, even here, for them, the ballad from 1,000 years ago is still playing. Armies fell upon our home. Them I saw from afar. From valleys to hills, our lands they scarred. The king slaughtered, the myriad souls did lament. Yet one sovereign fell, 6 heroes rose. They blew the horn, led the fight, faced their foes. Alas, the wanderer's city collapsed. To ruin swift as the fleeting peace elapsed. When all seemed lost, a black crown appeared. The twins brought hope where dread has reared. Spreads the rift, giving birth to betrayal. An assassin in the heart of the tempest, them I saw from afar. A sword to slay the regent king, a spear to pierce the royal ring. Legend ends as justice calls, to righteous fate the mighty falls. That is how this episode ends. The Cyclops fades into the blizzard of the dreamscape, leaving the child behind her. The boy's own cries grow distant from his ears. He wakes. Summer 1094. Outskirts of an abandoned town, Casdell. That is how this episode ends, Ascalon. My story is over. That is what my people, the Cyclops bound for the deep north, saw as they gazed their last of Casdell. Was that a page from long-lost history, a possible future yet to come, or plain meaningless gibbering? None knew for the past millennium, until they came, and fate's rapids began to narrow into a surer course. And now the fate she saw has drawn before our eyes. I don't care. She doesn't care. I'm surprised you'd even hear me out. Bright red blood creeps along his mask, trickling down his chest. Ascalon's eyes narrow a hair. He's out of luck. You're about to die, so I gave you one last token of respect. Damn, she's so edgy. Those prophecies never did gnaw at you, in all the time we knew each other, no? That's why you will never understand how a greedy soul thirsts to control his fate. Choose better last words. I know how you hurry to convene with those Babel members, but it's not yet time for you to leave. Look, the catastrophe is near. Ah, funny. I'm curious now. What was it you found within the storm? Step aside. No commission left unfinished. The rule I set myself back when I was at the Scar Market. Alive or... Org! A dawn-like mist is wound about the Cyclops' Zyplox's neck, as Ascalon vanishes behind him, leaving his body to dangle over the cliff's edge. You ever see your own end, then? I don't care for prophecies. We have that in common, ha! But fact is, none of us can outrun fate. Don't you want to struggle out of it? What makes you not? Why can you not? How can you not? Never forget, you have your place in the prophecies too. Whimpering, storming, a plaintive chant rings in their ears, an elegy over the horizon, from the convalescence of the banshees sucked into the storm's eye. Ascalon gives an involuntary shudder. She is ice cold from head to toe. An indescribable pain rips from behind her ears down to the soles of her feet. This nameless elegy, this ill omen. Farewell, Castle. A single sigh reaches Ascalon. Her hand tightens fast until not even the faintest sound will leave Scare Eye's throat again. And then she lets go. Ha! Damned fate! In a blink, the tremendous figure of the Cyclops becomes no more than a speck below the overhang. The mist scatters to the storm. The shadow of a hood goes with it. All vanishes within the teardrops falling from the cliff. Gasps, rolls of thunder from catastrophe clouds, whistles as the sand is swept across the barrens. The sound of everything culminates in silence. Londinium, Victoria. Now, lift your head, sarcas of hers. If you would still see through the calling she bestowed you, here I stand. Come, step forth. You may avenge her. My name is stitched onto my clothes. Stitched by Her Highness Theresa's own hands. I can feel it faintly burning right this moment, and I know what that means. The mission she assigned us is over. We'll clash with you no more. The sagas do not draw on each other before the invader. We pledge our loyalty to you, Regent. So long as you still hold your zeal and earnestness for the sagas, we will trust you with our lives. Even though you nearly ruined all the plans we'd set up in Victoria. Should the military commission put us to death, we will be willing to die. As long as it could bring a better end. An end as she wished. A moment ago, you were the renegades in chief, all but ready to entomb our plans. How can I possibly believe? Manfred. As she wishes, you said. Your name, Deathmonger. Julie. I will remember it, and I will hand you your final mission. Guards, assassins, mercenaries, survivors of this sea of bloodshed, one and all, you are to enter the Mausoleum of Kings. You are to render Victoria's iron heart as crap, not crap. You are to ambush and wipe out every last Steam Knight. You'd let us take part in the Commission's core plan to enfeeble Londinium. Manfred will take good care of you. There's no chance we leave that place alive, is there? You're welcome to fight for it. Very well. What's keeping you here? I'm just taking it in. I'm looking at the one who fostered Ascalon. She never rid herself of you. I swore to follow Her Highness Theresa, with no inkling that the tale of the mixed-blood twins, rewriter of Castell history, would end this way. Let alone that this indisposable life of mine had a place in it. Farewell, Your Highness Theresis. I take my hatred of you to the grave. Rhodes Island of Babel Castle. Hey, it's ex-wife. There she is. Keep going, Calcit. Never since the day she was born has this corridor felt so endlessly long to Calcit. Monster! Grrr! Cough, cough, fuck. My dame! Do not bury us. Casdel's soil cannot hold any more traitors. Finish him. That's not a great voice for her. I know that, even left on your own, your step will never falter. Amia! Doctor! Grrr. Oh, someone leaked. System unresponsive. This is... Monster, cut the door down. Grrr. Monster, meltdown. He's having a meltdown. You believe loneliness is yours alone, that you have none of the same kind. Yet from the day you woke again, we've walked shoulder to shoulder, haven't we? Immortal empires turned to dust. Elders' scepters rent in two under ancients' rallying cries. Pulses over the sky like a surge. The immutable rhythm of the stars, from resplendent glimmer to dull collapses. Death, rebirth, the all-encompassing cycle. She's ever so familiar with it. Grrr. Theresa. Yet still one day, I'll choose to slow down, to stop in place where I am. When I do, Calcit, don't grieve, keep going. Calcit subconsciously searches her memories. Death, rebirth, the all-encompassing cycle. No, it's not the same this time. Not quite. For the first time she must bid to the first who could ever converse with her as an equal. To her dearest friend, farewell. Theresa. So, Calcit, it's time to say goodbye. Amia, Doctor. But I always say one day, our wandering is bound to end. One day, the Sarkaz's wandering is bound to end. Now, your wandering too has reached its endpoint. I knew full well this possibility always existed. Why? I should have stayed behind. It's my... Because I believe in Rhodes Island. I believe in Babel. I believe in you. Calcit, I hope the Rhodes can be a place you name home. An island you may always return to. I already did everything I could do. I won't harbor complaint from my own end. Babel's mission is concluded, while you and this landship have only just set sail. I am not the same kind as you, Calcit. I cannot explain away your puzzlements, but I have always been your companion. Then now and after, I will always be with you all. Now. Alright, so we talk about Babel. I believe Babel is the thing that came before Rhodes Island. I mean, that's pretty much what it said right here. And I'm glad we get to learn more about it. I was really glad we learned more about the past of the Doctor. I think it's a really cool storyline they seem to be talking about very slowly. and I really enjoy that. And I guess we're going with the Kiera gang.
A field mission again? I'm with you, Doctor.
May the holy Mount
Very
Carmel
nice.
be with us.
I'm pretty sure we won't need all 5 of them, but we do have them. "64 years ago, autumn 1030. Scar Market, Casdell. You protect this tag around your neck with your life. You're my precious property, slave. You understand? Shit. You'd better be worth something. Stay here and don't move. You inspect the goods? The slave trader casts a glance at the silent slave behind the mercenary's back, then slightly shakes his head. Where'd you get it? Found him on my way here, dying of thirst and about to become Mangler Chow, though he could fetch a good price. I came from Castle. I can find someone who... Doesn't matter to us where you're from, slave. Say you're Higashinese for all we care, as long as someone buys you out. I'm just checking if you got a tail. You never know where these mercs get their goods. I promise you he's clean. You better not be messing with me. Cash or barter? Ain't gonna leave long enough for money to mean something. Give me some good weapons. You're the boss. He's second rate at best. That'll net you 2 blades freshly cast. How about you take another look with your eyes open this time? You can dress him up as a first rate, but it won't change anything. If you don't like our offer, feel free to get lost. And put that machete of yours away. This is the Scar Market you're in. Can you throw in more? I was out of Lathanion's border before I got back. I got first-hand intel about the whole war decor. Well, here's something for nothing. Careful what you spew out of that mouth if you want to stay alive here. Mouthing around you have valuable first-hand intel. You want to guess where that'll get you? Leave the goods and scram. You're holding up the line. Grr. Not happy? Drown your sorrows in the bar. Great idea. Our boss Scare Eye brews one heck of a drink. Doesn't matter if you can't pay your tab. They'll take your weapons as collateral, merc. One more thing. Where do you run your bounty board? I'm here to strike it rich. The bar folk will be happy to inform you. That's very violent swearing. Yeah, the old hag was a bit younger 60 years ago indeed. The merc stares around this floating hub, hidden away in the giant subterranean hollow beneath Casdell. Amidst the moans of the slaves, a faint yet constant rumble of lava and bursts of originum dust can be heard rising from beneath the market. Eyeing the rugged pass behind him, the mercenary recalls the perils he faced to reach here from the surface and shudders. Just how many people are there in that goddamn chasm? Enough to break your fall, if you jumped. Welcome to the Scar Market, Greenhorn. You'll love it here. What's the deal over there? Why the crowd? Probably another big name just to roll back into town. Aren't you here to strike it rich? Go on then. I'd rather keep my horns out of all that mess. The merc vaguely makes out a pale white figure, flitting through the chaotic gloom of the street. White clothes. You don't see that every day in Casdell. You're injured. Tell me something I don't know. You're... Hmm? The last time I was here, it was someone else handling transactions. Yes. You're referring to my grandfather. He never stopped bragging about how he'd fought you and lived. I'm surprised you'd remember him, in the good sense. Though, that means he wasn't lying all this time. It must have been 60 years ago by now. General Theresis. Already. How sad that nothing here has changed at all. I imagine with Her Highness here too, there will be no more violence this time, eh? Even if things get bloody, eventually you'll leave, but we'll always be here, General. We'll always have business, so long as Casdel's unrest never rests. Even now, I remember one thing my grandpa mentioned to his boasts. In his boasts, he said to you, it's the land of Casdel that needs us. Theresis looks at the slaves, their heads down in their cages. He draws his sword. War and turmoil have necessitated this trade for over a century. This scar market. General, provided you can reach the surface alive, take a fresh look at Casdel. Much of what you know will soon change. All Sarkas will be part of this change. All, as two? Yes. I'm not inclined to explain our vision to the likes of you, but I will stay here a while longer and wait for her return. Until then, I welcome you mercenaries to challenge me, just as 60 years ago. I will take you to Casdel, willingly or otherwise. His voice isn't loud, but every Sarkas present hangs onto his every word. The mixed-blood Sarkas stands alone, no retinue, no army, armed only with an ordinary-looking longsword, casually held in the hand that wields it. His steely gaze pierces through the dim of the streets, settling calmly in the direction of the only person he cares for. You can dismiss the mercenaries in ambush. No doubt they are your most trusted men. This is out of respect for the King of Sarkas. None aside from the General can claim to know your true motives after all. Your Highness, do you truly believe this can change the fate of the Sarkas? That you're not just another ill-fated hero, caught in this cycle of hope and failure? Once the dust has settled, your answer will come naturally. Following that Pyrrhic victory, we built from zero a moving city, the great nomad of Sarkas soil for over a century now. We can evade catastrophes and foreign armies. Our development has finally reached a point of basic self-sufficiency, but it's so far from enough. The storm has long been brewing on the horizon, but we were too oblivious, like a burdened beast too slow to react, too old to move. Your Highness must be referring to that war between Lythanian and Gaul. Surely you too are aware of the magnitude of that war. Corsica, I even secretly hired our royal court casters as his consultants. But despite a period of seclusion, Lythanian's Witch King thwarted Gaul's offenses with his opening move, and now Ursus and Victoria have also declared war on Gaul. These present empires display a might so far removed from the enemy 130 years ago, against which we stoked all Casdel just to barely prevail. That was already a victory in name only. If Casdel must now be thrust into the same situation, how could it possibly end? It is for this end that you wish to establish the military commission of Casdel. Yet the old aristocrats of the royal courts grow resentful, refusing to relinquish their sumptuous city lives and viewing this as an attempt to challenge their privileges. Yeah, someone finally dealt with these guys. What a shame. A century of peace is enough for certain memories to sleep their minds. So, what made you design this? What made you deign to come here in person? Do you see the the Scar market as the royal court from the bottom feeders, where the likes of us escape buy and make merry? Where the like of us escape by and make merry? I'm sure that means something. My only hope is for more Sarkas to join us and resist the voices that refuses to embrace change. Resist? Perhaps your highness means terrorize and purge. What I want is a reform, not a slaughter. So what's the reward? The Scar market is not a real royal court. What we have with the mercenaries is partnership, not fealty. Without compensations, no one will work for us. Reward. Are the spoils of war not enough? Are the riches, power, or food that should have gone to the hungry people not enough to sate your appetite? Whoops. Yeah, he said nothing. You claim to provide shelter and a livelihood for countless Sarkas warriors with your rhetoric of justice. Yet you could almost hear their bones crunch as you squeeze them dry for profit. Ugly capitalist. Sorry, but in this business we eat people whole and chew on their bones. Scare-Eye, you too are Sarkars. You too are a part of Casdel. While Teresa cannot see what expression lies behind Scare-Eye's mask, his emotions are clear as day before her pitch-black crown. No commoner in Casdel would ever dare defy the royal court, but in his emotions, all Teresa sees is fervor and bloodthirst. You won't refuse. Ha! Why would I? Do you think I'm scared they'll take revenge on me? The royal court's no mystery to me. Your Highness knows that plenty well. And let me say, you've promised me no doubt the best reward I could ask for. We thrive on chaos and we can see the level of chaos you bring upon Casdel. The fact that you've kept the name Scar tells me that your ideas haven't changed. Like you said, the nations of Terra have grown tremendously in power over the last century. We could throw more revenants into the soul furnace and stoke its flame, but it'll not close that gap. So why force the people who aren't really of the same race to band together, call themselves the Sarkas, and build a giant target called Casdel? The war between the four superpowers has proven that other Terran nations can accept our existence as mercenaries, and that we are Scar, and that's where Scar market comes in. And your Highness surely knows that we've become a community, a town, because many of us could never fit into the elitist bloodline-obsessed royal court. In all these years, I may have helped just as many Sarkas find a new way of life as the 6 heroes, if not even more. And I'm not the least bit ashamed to say it, your Highness, King of Sarkas. Teresa doesn't reply. All she offers is a faint smile at the Cyclops. Ah, it suddenly occurs to Scare-Eye that this King of Sarkas belongs to no royal court and represents no bloodline. Her sole aim is to persuade the Sarkas who are unwilling to believe that Casdel can be built, some of whom have even committed crimes for this cause, to believe once more. But is she enough to break free from this cycle of tragic failures, from the ending he foresaw? Come to think of it, there's one thing I don't get, your Highness. I might have agreed to help you, but why didn't you and General Thursday simply burn this place to the ground before the day's end? I would have had little chance of winning if you decided to do so, just like you did 60 years ago. A minute ago, you described Casdel as nothing but a target, and that you want another way for the Tarkas to live, one that would have them depend on other nations. Yes. So tell me, in your prophetic visions, have you seen Casdel's destruction? Have you seen my death, Theresis' death, and the destruction of all that you stand against? And what about yourself? How do you behold your death? A slow and agonizing death by your apathy, slain in battle in foreign soil, or drowned in a sea of plots and conspiracies? Have you ever left this place and seen Casdel as it is now? Have you ever truly seen the future? Is this your way of asking for a prophecy? I don't give handouts, but for the highness, I'll consider a discount. Such nerve. No wonder you were able to claw your way out of this blankness and rebuild this mercenary paradise. But I'll pass on the prophecy. Prophecies and fate have no value. It's getting late. I look forward to your return to Castle. He watches her go, and heaves a long sigh, only when even her footsteps fall from earshot. Son of a bitch. Foresight, prophecies, his own death. He bought his coffin this very morning. Tally up the losses. Boss, the slaves. Set them free. They're bound to get tangled up in the scar market after the war begins anyway. At most, we lose out on pocket change. Did anyone take on General Theresis and survive? Yes. I've noted them all down. Take them to the supplies for a little reward. They've got real balls. When you're done, take them to the bar entrance and kill them all in front of everyone. Send their heads to General Theresis as an apology. Got it? Send their rewards to whatever family and friends they have as bereavements. I have never seen that word before. Tell every merc looking to make a living in the scar market, I don't want to see anyone trying funny shit on my turf. Good strategy. Reward people and then behead them. He heads alone to the bar, the tags of his cloak jangling in his step. He stands prominently in the crowd, watching as the blades take the light from the mercenary's eyes. Still no one fights back. Utter disappointment. Drinks are in the house tonight, both to celebrate the two highnesses sparing our lives, and to celebrate the huge gig you've all just landed. Your objective is in Casdell. Yeah, they had the balls to attack Theresis, yeah. Get your shit ready. Soon you're all gonna be in the city. They can be deemed a threat due to their lack of loyalty. Indeed. Secret entrance of Scar Market Castle. You've been quiet for some while now, Teresa. Are you hesitating? No. I have confidence in you. A reshuffle of the war council is inevitable. It's just, I've been thinking about the city's future. War won't stop itself at goal. Our peace has fallen too far behind. Corsica and I commands an indomitable fleet of dreadnoughts and guard battalions. The Mad King of Leithanion has more than his arts in his arsenal to affect Gaul's failure. The industrial might of both Ursus and Victoria in the throes of a large-scale war has far surpassed our imaginations. Many assume to know war like the back of their hands simply by living long enough through it. If our concepts of war still linger in the great battles from a century ago, then we have drastically underestimated how quickly wars can nourish empires and fuel dictatorships. This is exactly why we need a military commission. It's more than that, Theresis. I know. When the day comes when the Sarkas wish to live on, if a brittle creaking city is all they have to call their own, it will be far from enough. Do you remember the idea I proposed back when Calcit was designing the city's blueprints with us? Babel. To transcend the borders of race and nations, to go far and wide in our ideals, in our epics. Founded by our Sarkas, we will prepare Castle for the coming crisis, strive to eradicate the poverty and disease that have plagued them for millennia, and send a message to all of Terra. There will come a future when we all stand as one. The Sarkas too are part of Terra's destiny. This is not the first Theresis has heard of her idea. Wrong voice. Apart from the dame who left after helping build the nomadic city of Kasdal many years ago, he alone knows the true belief of the current king of Sarkaz. Kasdal won't accept this babble. You and I both know that well. It's but a dream of attempting to subvert reality. Yes, for now at least. We can't be talking of such grand ideals, while even our own affairs are slipping away from us. It's my hope this Babel can become a part of Castel Theresis. Are you prepared then? As I said before, it's not just the other nations that will oppose you. Casdal and the Sarkaz, clinging to their hatred, will also stand against you. It is cruel to force them to forgive and forget. The persecutions of the Sarkaz is not history. The ancient hatred is what drives many to survive until this day. I am the king of Sarkaz. The responsibility is all mine to bear. I must show them a way out of this. I see. Then go, do what you will. Theresa, I still do not approve of your vision, but I do support your decision, and the future military commission will too. If your gaze is set too far to see what lies before you, then I shall sweep away all that obstructs you at the moment, just as always. I know. Come, let's go home. Casdal still needs us for what's about to happen. Oh yes. Scarai mentioned the prophecy again as I was leaving. The signs of a pessimistic fate. And your reaction? I don't care. Agreed. Casdal, a strange yet familiar name. Many from this great land see it as the pit from which devil crawls, a terrible place to be avoided at all cost. While to the Sarkaz the name only evokes equally conflicting emotions. Despite generations of Sarkaz passing on that Casdal is the Sarkaz's homeland, an outsider might wonder if they mean the city or the entirety of those lands. Perhaps only they themselves know. Looks like the Frostpunk generator. It never struck me on the way out just how high this wall is. Oh well, at least I can go home alive now. That means I'm pretty lucky. That man in the Scar Market, that was General Theresis, the first of the city's founders, the hero of that legendary campaign. If I had the courage to ask him to take me in, maybe I could have just... I'm dreaming again. He sits atop the high wall, experiencing for the first time a new lease on life. Few of Casdal's civilians, Sarkaz, save for those children who haven't yet cottoned onto the fear of death, ever climb onto the city wall. If the tremendous pipes and tubes piled high can even be called a wall. The intricately tangled forest of originium spikes can take the lives of anyone who loses their footing, but it also serves as a heaven for pilferers and mercenaries to stash their goods. Looks like Mordor? Yeah, kind of, yeah. We got the eye hidden inside the tower. Smugglers and vagrants cross through the dark underground, peeking out from the tunnels and drains at mines and factories, scuttling from one corner of the city to another. The life the slave once knew. The general gave me a fresh start, so what should I do from now on? He gazes at the furnace burning and smoldering far away, teeming with indiscernible workers as they carry originium, steel, dirt and stones into his hearth. To Casdal, the nomad, its flames bring motion, while the molten metal that flows out adds new appendages to the city. For a whole century, it's belched in its incessant black smoke. None know whether it's ash or originium dust. Some say it's the bitter anger and anguish as the revenants exhale their last breaths. Peace and prosperity indeed. Witchcraft altars hang high in the sky, intermittently flashing their blinding rays, The slave has heard many different versions of their urban legend. The most frightening version claims that the royal court's casters work day and night on the altars, watching everything and listening to every conversation in the city. Maybe I can try my luck at the factories too. It doesn't matter what else. I've made it back alive. It's been months since I've left. I don't know how many of my friends are still alive. Yeah, truly a utopia. That's some very nice living space. The nomadic city of Casdell. Scubbada, what happened here? Why are all the doors open and the furniture all smashed? Pull top, you're back! It's you. What are you doing here? Where'd you get that ornament? Something big is happening. Royal court nobles are being dragged out of their houses and killed by mercenaries appearing from nowhere, while the city guards do nothing. A lot of us have been sneaking into the empty houses, and boy have we dredged up some good stuff. How are you still alive though? Words go out you wanted to leave the city and find your own way, and after so long we all assumed you died out there. Heh, you won't believe my luck. First I was left to die without food or water. Then I was taken to the Scar market, but guess what? General Theresis saved my life. The general himself. Then on the way home, I ran into this guy with a halo over his head, calling himself a messenger, and he brought me all the way back to the city wall. So I've decided to change my name to Good Luck starting today. You guys can forget that lousy old name of mine. Pah, a guy with a halo, a sancta, and then the general. You sure learned how to lie, Good Luck. Believe me or don't, but either way, today is a fresh new start for me. I'm gonna go be a miner. That's so great. I looted an Akchera's house earlier and found some hot air balloons. Wanna launch me on one and put that luck of yours into good use? I'm in. Well, that was fast. Man, it feels good to be home. Good Luck glances around at the people swarming the street. This is the life he knows. If he wants to survive, the city will always offer him a way. Thank you, Fate, and thank you, General. And now we kill everyone.
Don't you fret. No matter the
Oh, that's not
environment,
that's not gonna be enough.
fine.
Go, courier.
Let's assist others, shall we?
You have my blessings.
I'm aimed at you, you know.
Be careful, here come the bells.
Here
Cold
comes the
winds
bells.
Binding my enemies.
Yeah, as always, the first maps are always very easy. I guess the beginning of the fight was strangely fast. Usually they let a lot more leeway.
You didn't think it had come from this angle, did you?
No, I didn't.
I am ready. Here come the bells. Cold winds binding my enemies.
I should really use her first skill. It's probably better in this situation. Autumn 1031. The nomadic city of Casdell. Hey! Let me through already! Hey, no shopping. You want a good spot? I'll trade you mine for some high purity origin out of the mines. That's a great voice. Don't just grab the leaflet out of my hand. Ugh. That blood all over you stinks. can't help it when you're breaking into dead people's houses. Lingones. That's how you read that word, right? Where's Lingones? Gaul. Oh, where's Gaul? How the crap should I know where Gaul is? Hey, what's with the attitude? Sure. The Highness and the Royal Court bishops are discussing something in the chambers. I hear it's about reorganizing the city. Haven't you noticed all the extra guards on the streets recently? So quiet down a bit. Ah, weather's been real stuffy today. It is decided. The military commission will replace the war council in assisting the King of Sarkas Tirisa in decision-making related to Casdel's military and political affairs. The military commission will be the sole administrator of Casdel, and none will have the authority to issue commands to the Sarkas in the royal court's name. All present have already received the details of this resolution. To the royal court leaders who still wish to cling on to the war council, know that the military commission of Casdel will become the final bastion of the Sarkas, our eternal fortress, and the usher of a new order. Are there any further questions? Your Highness appears more haggard than you did yesterday. Please, look after your health. No military commission is worth it, if it comes at the cost of your Highness's health. Like a Ramalian, thank you. I know how hard you have worked for this day. I also know how Castel today views the banshees of the Convalis. But before I state our position, I encountered a lost envoy of the Liches on my journey here. He entrusted me with a letter for you, Highnesses, that he couldn't even find the road here. Let this be proof of the immense changes Castel has undergone. A letter from Leithanion. Is that the guy from Zwillingsturme in Herbst? If things are going as expected, your Highness's messengers will still not have received any news from the Cyclopses. Rather than waiting for the responses from deep in the blizzard, should we not hear how the Liches of Leithanion answer? I guess there are many Liches in Leithanion. Probably not this one guy. You're right. It has been a very long time since the Sarkas were able to truly unite. Oh. The ornate calligraphy upon the letter turns into silken threads that float above the paper and weave into the shape of a familiar figure. Oh, it is him! Fremont. A lich who has long resided in Leithanion. It appears that he is now the first scribe for the Liches. It seems that the arts practiced by the Liches of Leithanion have seen some stylistic changes. Oh, he appears rather excited. Why is there only image but no sound? Well, the Lich envoy did suggest to me that he was rather vexed with his refining his master's words, but never did I imagine that he would simply erase all the sounds. In short, Fremont apologizes on behalf of the Liches. They are enthralled as ever by their quest for knowledge, and are therefore unable to afford the distraction of making the long journey here. But if Castel were ever in need of their knowledge, they would happily throw wide the gates to their temple for the people that they have chosen. I am sure that with your abilities, your Highness can understand Fremont's attitude on the matter from his image alone. To me, it appears as though he is sensitive to drastic change, as has always been his wont. His wont? Ah yes, there is another letter from Fremont, one addressed directly to the General. Might I remind you, Lackey Ramelin, that you are nobody's messenger. You have not yet expressed where the Banshee Court stands. I assume that we had reached an understanding in the course of our reminiscing yesterday, the Banshees will not participate. We are still recovering from the wound inflicted by the past war. Perhaps other sagas will castigate us for this, but all present should know that since that war, the elegies have yet to cease in our valley. We had suffered grievous losses. If Castel calls on the aid of the Banshees once more, we will give the same promise as Fremont. The Banshees will be there. But until that day, you will find us willing but unable. Naturally, I myself will render what little assistance I am able to give from this day onwards. That's more than we can ask for. Thank you, Leke Amelin. You are welcome, Your Highness. You know where I stand. For the past 100 years, I have always stood by the decisions you have made. I can only hope that your brother does not blame us for watching from the sidelines. Yeah, they do have style. Extremely intricate costumes, as is often the case with Orc Knights. Next, Lord Neslalem, the Naxera King. You were once the leader of the War Council and the mentor of Theresis and I. What is your opinion on these many proposals? Where do the other council members that you represent stand on the matter?
Have you discussed them with the Damazi cluster?
They have long since taken root in Castel, under many different names and faces. We have had many conversations over the years, and they have no objections.
Then I have no objections of my own. Your Highness needs not worry about the bureaucratic hurdles, policy imperfections, or enforcement mechanisms. Where I stand is also where the other members of the Council stand. We all know what we truly long for: a turnabout, a change, a banner. Go, do as you will.
We will, Naxera King. I promise you that.
I trust that this stagnant and dulled war can take on a new form in your hands.
I notice you have not said a word this entire meeting. Sanguine Arch of Vampires.
To take the War Council and the century of history behind it, and sweep it into the gutter alongside the exalted heroic ages and what little triumphs within. Is that the General's decision?
It is our decision. Speak your mind, Dukarael. Dukarael lowers his gaze. Teresa's white skirt is mottled with many blackened bloodstains. The Sanguinarch is highly attuned to such matters. He senses the blood of the lowly, the foul stench of fallen descendants, and the murky taint of royal court members who willingly debase themselves.
I thank your Highness for purifying the filthy blood that I so abhor in my stead, but never have I needed to hide my requests from behind honeyed words. Such as it has been for every king of the past, and so it will be for you. The military commission is merely an attempt to hide Sarka's witchcraft and blood behind a more modern, more efficient name. Truth be told, I feel like this is insignificant. More than insignificant, it is simply not necessary.
You reject the proposal? On behalf of the Vampire Court? Dukarael glances at Theresis, but Theresis remains indifferent to him. Time has left almost no trace of the mixed blood Sarkaz. He stands steadfast by Theresa's side, the same nameless warrior who stood by the seamstress a century ago. His eyes never fall on the vampire. Not a rejection, no. I am merely expressing some minor frustrations about this meeting. You are great and powerful, all of you are. How long has it been since so many members of the royal court have gathered here in Castle? Not to mention that it was you who defeated that foolish coalition in the prior age and wrestled the future into your own hands before personally establishing the War Council.
And now you wish to personally change this council. Why? Look about you at the other dignitaries in this chamber. There they are. They do look very cool. You have long reached consensus. The only obstacle to your military commission is myself and the vampires. You would foist some ridiculous title upon me before forcing all vampires to bow down to your commission. When did you learn this political trickery that those Victorians and Lathanians so love? Why not just take my head here and now and slaughter the vampires within these city walls? This meeting was not convened to persecute anyone. Was it not? It was convened to discuss how to bring Castel into a new age. A new age? Is that so-called age of the 6 heroes the songs love to praise? What I saw was bloodthirst and violence. I had thought that when I arrived in Castel, I would be greeted with the sound of Illis's wailing, but what did I see instead? I saw the coalition routed witchcraft enough to cover the land and fill the skies, crushed the enemy front. The power of the Sarkaz shook the earth. I felt amazed, I felt excitement, spurred by my passion. I took the head of the Lathanian envoy who had orchestrated the coalition and offered it to the War Council. Nesalem. That war was the true beginning of a new age. I thought you agree with me. Have you too succumbed to schemes and politics and shut your ears to the echoes of the abyss?
The abyss has no place for you, Dukaral. Do not drag me into your tantrum.
Ah, my apologies, but I am curious. What position did they offer the esteemed Saga's Master of War in the military commission that has rendered even you so short-sighted?
All I await is the next war.
And what war would that be?
If it pleases you, your highness. Come, Dukaral. I will show you.
Teresa nods her head in silent approval. The king of Sarkaz's emotions envelop the entire chamber and all the members of the royal courts. Through the king's eyes, they see ruinations and grief. They see the century-old order that the Gaulish Empire so painstakingly maintained within the core region obliterated by the combined forces of Ursus, Victoria, and Laethanian. They see Lygons, the capital of the world, doomed to never again appear on the map of Terra. Langon? Those present recall the campaign that reduced Casdel to dust. But it is not yet over. An even further future, an even further fantasy, an even further possibility. It is no longer a story to reflect upon. Rather, it is a speculation, a deduction, a prediction, a verdict. But none question it, for all possibilities must be treated equally, even for the one they see. And its ending is equally significant and indisputable as any other. It is a change, a turning point in history, a divergence of fate. A crucial war looms on the horizon. It will span from now into the distant future, impacting every Sarkaz and all of Terra. All present has seen their positions in that war, the roles that they wish to play.
You should understand now, vampire. You should understand what these visions mean. Or perhaps you have begun to grow weak and feeble as Illis in the short span of 100 years. You were once a warrior.
I cannot deny that. But are you saying that a new and reborn Castel requires the royal court to relinquish its former authority?
Close, but not quite. The new castle will no longer require the royal court's former authority. It will be more modern, more efficient, Dukarael. How can the Sarkas speak of unity while you continue to indulge in your noble bloodlines? Will it come from the rule of the royal court? You may still rule over your own court and maintain the power and prestige you hold among the Sarkas, but the vampire court must yield to the military commission. I promise you this in Theresa's name. When the age that you witnessed comes, Casdell will no longer be a single dot upon the map. It was once more than just a city, and so it shall be more again.
It seems I have spoken out of turn. Please continue, Your Highness Theresa.
The aftermath of the ongoing conflict, enough to reshape current powers dynamics, will engulf us all. It may come in 50 years, in 10, or perhaps even tomorrow. Casdell cannot escape it. The Namatsi and I both saw the visions of the campaign that will destroy Langon. High-efficiency command systems made possible by Originium arts, high-speed battleships that can break through front lines, maneuver tactics that can mobilize entire legions. New advancements are applied to the battlefield as we speak. Their capacity for destruction is surpassing our innate instinct rooted in our bloodlines. What worries me more is the fact that we will still find fellow Sarkas among the countless casualties of war. Goal-employed royal court casters and the liches in Laethanian are killing each other in battle, while a certain Wendigo is spilling the blood of his fellow Sarkas to prove his loyalty to the Ursine Tsar. As for the Sarkas mercenaries sent to the front lines as arts fodder, they won't even be counted in any nation's casualty statistics. The Sarkas massacre one another in wars we have no stakes in, regarded as disposable goods to be abandoned without care by the leaders of those wars. For the sake of keeping pace with these changes, the Sarkas must once again gather around the furnace, and if necessary, the power to dominate the war must lie in our hands. Theresis looks to Theresa, waiting for her opinion. But Theresa does not speak, her eyes placid as before. We will plunder the other nations, and wrest their most profound secrets from them. We were once the proud Tikas, forced to become the Sarkas and derided as devils. Because the Outlanders feared us, it is an ancient fear, rooted deep in their hearts. Let us remind them. Let us show all of Terra, our history and legend, that have been either forgotten or falsified. The Sarkas are not weak. We do not need others to save us from our fate. On the contrary, we will dictate the fate of Terra. Dictate how this land should move forward. The details of our plan have been delivered to all present through the runic arts of the Banshees. Dukarael, do you still hold doubt? No. Exceptional work, Theresis. Set aside a seed on the military commission for the Crimson Court. It appears that our Naxera king has not yet grown addled with age, but as to whether or not he could usher in such a great feast. Warriors do not die in a blaze of glory. That is a vulgarity only chased by those who seek fame.
Oh, I nearly forgot you were still here, Ramelin. I have made myself abundantly clear from the start. Prince Dukarael, I need only silently observe your enthusiastic attempt at self-expression. How pitiful it is to look upon such a shabby little court. I will cherish your elegies. Then this I promise you. When death comes for you, the Lord of Benches will sing you an elegy, delivered to you by the night wind.
Set aside your chatter for another time. It seems their highnesses still have matters to discuss. The other members of the War Council will wish to know their decision. Dukarael, Ramelin, and you, Damatsi, disguised outside the door with me. The Naxera king nods his head towards Theresa. The other two members of the royal court do not bid the king farewell. They simply follow the Naxera king out of the chamber. After the meeting's end, Theresa stays by Theresa's side, standing silently. He knows that she will be expecting an answer from him. You never mentioned that you would announce the plans for a word to the royal court. You did not refute me either. Would I have been able to refute anything? You are well aware of what I think. If you wanted to argue against any of it, you would have done so a few years ago. For now, I have them by the reins, and it's not just them. This entire city hungers for war. I will prevent matters from heading down the worst possible path, lest the prospect of Terra's continued existence become infinitesimally small. You must be quick about it. I will. What does Fremont's letter say? As Teresis opens the letter, the writing vanishes before his eyes, yet the message has already etched itself indelibly into his mind. He has surmised what would transpire during that meeting rather accurately. He has given his opinion on some matters, alongside a reminder: do not place all your coming hopes in one basket. The nomadic city of Castel. You with that Babel? Pah! Don't count on the military commission to look after you all. We're here to help you. Help us? My parents died at the hand of you Lythanians. You got some nerve. What? Not scared of me? We knew what to expect when we came here. Just need some getting used to. Besides, our captain warned us not to agitate the locals. You looking down on me? Scabada! Hey? The hell is this? Let me go! Welcoming wave. Do not harm him. Do make him live. Dr. Calcit. Dr. Calcit. I said not to deviate from our planned route, even if it is to treat the wounded along the way. Sorry, Dr. Calcit. No matter. You handled it well. We've reached our destination. Welcome to Babel. In the waiting room of Babel. Did you manage to retrieve all our stray colleagues? Yes, all's well with them. The construction of Babel's facilities is proceeding smoothly. The school that you were so looking forward to is already complete. Yet I heard the unbeatable Dr. Calcit had not too long ago been turned down, perhaps even kicked out. I did not see such a direct refusal. I'm not surprised at all, to be honest. To many Sarkas, the invitation of the king is barely worth the paper it's printed on. On the other hand, our connection with Sargon and Rimbiliton have delivered good news. As for Columbia, some scientists have proposed a technology exchange program. They have their eyes on the ancient Sarkas' witchcraft, while we have need of their latest mobile farms. It took us a century's effort to share an equal dialogue with these powers. The results would speak for themselves. You are creating new history, Teresa. Thank you, Calcit. But I can't tell you, you've had a lot on your mind recently. No, I can't tell you've had a lot on your mind recently. The military commission has been formally established. Babel's existence will spark yet another near irreconcilable conflict in Castel. Our staff comes from different races and nations. How should they live alongside the Sarkas? If your efforts to soothe enmity and prejudice instead become a fuse to spark conflict anew, what does your highness plan to do? Yeah, Calcit really needed that huge building with some very cool potted plants and room for like 5 people at the desk. If we cannot even eliminate prejudice and hatred within the walls of Castle, how can Babel hope to achieve equality for the Sarkas throughout all of Terra? There will be members of the military commission posted to Babel soon. They will ensure the safety of our people. This will also serve as a warning to some. Babel is backed both by Theresis and me. Oh right. Did I ever tell you I met a Sancta messenger, Calcit? Strange. The Sancta do not generally dare to approach the borders of Castle. Was this why your highness disappeared this afternoon? Was it that obvious? I thought like Ramelin had me covered. The Lord of the Banshees clearly tried, but judging from the results, she isn't the best pick for clerical work. Well, what of that Sancta messenger? He was getting water from the river, and we struck up a conversation. We chatted about many things: history, peace, hatred. Our viewpoints did not align on most things, but I could sense in him wisdom and intelligence beyond his years. He had thoughts concealed within his heart, ones even he did not know of. And so, you used the power of the King of Sarkas on a Sancta. I simply wished to know what this fated encounter meant. And what did it mean? It's still hard to say, but while I was looking at his soul, I felt that perhaps we are not so alone, Calcit. Many on this land are doing all they can to pursue hope. Hopes big and small, hopes bright and beautiful. That hurts. Are those people nuts or something? I just wanted to get a few nice things for myself. Never even heard of any Babel. He steadies himself against the walls, gasping for air as his vision begins to blur. Fatigue floods his limbs, weighing him down. Through his blurred visions, he sees another in front of him fall on the crazed attacker's blades. He knows he will be next. I refuse to die here. It's you or me, you bastards, out of the way. He uses the last of his strength to barrel his way out, but the only resistance he meets is solid ground. All he sees is black. Are you alright? Were you trying to save me just now? There's so much blood. Why does it feel like I'm the one saving you? Hold on, I'll bring you to Babel. Our doctors here can help you. Ha, I'm still alive. Oof, who would have thought that those lunatics would decide to attack innocent bystanders in broad daylight to get at Babel? I don't know how the others are faring. Hey, stay with me. I still don't know your name. I'm Good Luck. Huh? For the first time, he regrets giving himself this name. I mean, I don't know if it's really a spoiler. I mean, this is literally the first chapter. I mean, and we already know that it's gonna be about Babel. It would be strange for it not to say what it's about. So let's see, what's the mechanic? I know it's about chains, but apart from that, I'm very much unsure. Alright, so we need to deploy first on the stabilized tiles and then on the cool tiles. And Doberman has a fear of heights, it seems. Cruise! Let's go, Cruise! Yeah!
I'm listening.
It's well known what Babel is famous for. I mean, it's not that clear. I'm not a huge... I don't know all the lore. I know quite a lot of it, but not all of it, and I'm not very familiar with Babel. Apart from it being the precursor to Rhodes Island, I don't really know what it is. Alright, maximum 2 stabilized chair and chains rather, and the chains can slow enemies.
今度こそ自分の力を証明してみせます。
No! Poor Doberman and her fear of heights.
In position.
Right, so if they are unsteady, they don't die, but they are stunned permanently, is what I think this is about. Oh wait, they do die actually, okay, well. Same mechanic as when they die in SSS.
私できました。自分の力で皆さんを守れましたか？
Yeah, stop crying. Alright, well, I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made today. A 5-hour stream is a good duration for me.
Doctor,
It's
did you
usually...
sleep well last night?
I usually go for 5 hours, to be honest. It's a format I've come to like. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that.
Doctor, did you sleep well last night?
Yeah, I slept very poorly last night actually, so thank you, Kiera. You're welcome, NC. Thank you for coming by and being active in chat. It's always nice to discuss with people. There were many people today. It seems that Arknights is a very popular thing to stream. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do more of it. I think I'm gonna be back tomorrow. No, I'm not sure 100% because I do have some work to do, but if I finish my work, which is probable, I think I'm gonna do another perhaps 5-hour stream tomorrow. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming by and see you guys next time.